qabena buqhamu sebeqabene ngengqondo amaqanda qabele igqithapha eqhudeni. I mean, I have no idea. This thing is such a beautiful, great instrument. So that's why we're here today. Hopefully, it's going to be a good day.
So, tell me a little bit about the ukuleles, the bass.
You know, it took me a minute to really understand the instrument and like the instrument because of the size and then because of the strings. But once I started to play the instrument, then I really fell in love with it because the sound is just unbelievable. I mean, this thing is so small, but it's really, the sound is amazing. So I got into that, and then the strings too, because they feel so good and just so easy to play, so easy to travel with. You know, just well-built instrument, and I would suggest every bass player should have it.
Great. If there was something you could tell the students as to why maybe they should probably grab one as a, you know, and maybe add it to their instruments, what would you tell them?
Well, I tell them at least they should add this to what they have, and because there's so much discipline about this instrument, it's not about just really banging, and you know, it just teaches you to play like the old days where you play the groove and you don't have to do a lot of stuff to punish and break the instrument. You know, you play with care. So I think this would be a great instrument. It's great for practicing without any amp because you hear the sound very quietly, but it really helps your left hand, you know, to really grab it and get a sound of it. So I would suggest really it would be a great instrument for them to add to what they have.
And then just to end, if you can maybe give some words of advice, maybe some things you'll mention, maybe some things you won't to the students.
Well, you know, I mean, already students, I'm sure they know how to play, but it's just to, you know, just keep doing what you're doing and use this instrument, you know, because it's a great instrument. I mean, I'm playing this, and Paul Simon loves the instrument, and it's a great instrument to play. You can play all kinds of music, African music, jazz, Latin, everything. It's great. Good. Okay.
Hi, my name is Abraham Laboriel. I'm a professional bass player in Los Angeles since 1976, and I'm visiting the wonderful MI Institute of Music, the Bass Institute of Music, and the Bass Institute of Technology. And it is a pleasure to be here demonstrating a new product by a company called Kayla that makes ukulele basses, so that they are very small and very compact, and yet they have the full range of a bass. And I think people are going to have a lot of fun celebrating and participating and listening today.
So tell me a little bit about the connection with you and the company Kayla. How did you kind of come together?
Well, actually it's very emotional. I was doing a clinic for the Bass Magazine fair that they had recently here at SIR. And at the end of the presentation, Rick comes to me and hands me a U-bass, and he says, "Your son, the drummer Abraham Jr., told us that you want one, so here it is."
If that's got to be in anybody's hands, it's those hands.
And it completely blew my mind because my son had one in his studio, and I enjoyed it so much. I really enjoyed playing it. And never imagined that my son had made arrangements for me to get my own. So then I started to play it. I would bring it around to the studios, eventually making a recording with a famous Japanese drummer. His name is Akira Jimbo. I asked him if it was okay if I used the U-bass for one of my solos, and they said yes, and it just turned out totally spectacular. So it's become a dear instrument. And then when I did the NAMM show with them recently, they presented me with a new 5-string fretless that has a low B, and it just boggles the mind that something that small has that much depth and quality and clarity of sound. So now they invited me to come here and visit with all of you guys. I love this school, I love the students, and we're going to have a good time just sharing our hearts.
Okay, good, great. And maybe just some advice. You can take us out with some advice for the students.
Well, the only advice that I have for the students, and I'm going to repeat myself a lot, not only in this interview, but as we do the clinic and the talks and the open counseling, I'll never get tired of telling people that listening is not optional, that musicians are called by vocation to listen very carefully and then to celebrate the privilege of being able to listen to each other's music.
Great, perfect. Awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We truly have two magnificent bass players today. I should have turned my phone off. And it's a real honor, and honestly, two of the nicest gentlemen I've ever met, and great players. It's really, what a treat to have Bakithi, Kumalo, and Abraham Laboriel here today. Give it up for these two guys. I'd like to thank Rick Carlson for having these two gentlemen here. So let's bring out Rick first, and let's have a good time.
Thank you, Stuart, for inviting us in to your home here today, and all of you for turning out. Well, first of all, we're going to have some fun here. We're going to have a great time. Like you said, we got just two of the most awesome, bass players in the world here, and we're very blessed to have them playing our instrument and taking it to, new levels of not only recognition, but just the virtuosity of how to, use the instrument. They'll be demonstrating that today and maybe talking a little bit about it, how it applies to things that they're doing. Just really briefly, Kala, our company, K-A-L-A, Brand Music, was founded by Mike Upton, who is also a bass player. And he started it. Kala is known for its ukuleles. We're one of the largest ukulele manufacturers in the world, but Mike being a bass player, he met this fellow by the name of Owen Holt, who has a company called Road Toad, and saw this instrument he was working on, and he was developing these strings. The original strings are the black ones. They're polyurethane, and they're proprietary string that's manufactured for Kala. And he started playing, and just said, God, what is this thing? Just the bottom end coming out of it. He couldn't believe it. So they kind of started collaborating, and we brought the instrument to market. They originally met in about 2007, and we had the hard launch of the instrument in 2009, actually at Nashville NAMM, and kind of started there. Guys like Michael Rhodes, Kevin Grant, who's a producer, bassist with Brad Paisley, Grammy Award-winning producer with Jamie Johnson and several others. He took one from the show and then took it in the studio, and the reaction that we had so often from so many guys, took it in the studio, opened it up, and everybody laughed at him. What are you going to do with that? And look at this little thing, and then he plugs it in, and he was going pretty much into just a preamp and then direct to the board, and the bottom end speaks for itself, that you're able to get from this. Also, a lot of upright guys started coming on board, because you can really approximate that upright tone. And we have the fret and fretless models, so a lot of them find it very applicable for especially a weekend gig or something. You can't get your upright on the overhead, or you don't want to check in the plane. It's something that you can go out and definitely play a gig with. And we like to say more bass, less space. From there, we've developed the acoustic electric model, which they're all made to be plugged in. It's not really an acoustic instrument, but we introduced the solid body just over a year ago, 4-string fretted fretless. Just in January, we introduced the 5-string solid body, and we pretty much have them all here today. And you guys are welcome to play away, try them out, and please, afterwards, if any questions or anything we can answer, we'd love to do it. And anyway, I think we'll get started with what we're really here for, is for these guys. Bikiti and I go back a ways. I was with a company called SWR for 10 years, the early years, and Bikiti and I became friends back then. We lost touch a little bit, and just were blessed to be a bass player live 3 years ago. And we were first showing the bass here in LA. It was really the first time, and lo and behold, we just picked up where we left off. I handed him the bass, and it was just right at home. And so I'd love to bring Bikiti up.
Sanbonani, ngiyajabula ukunibona namhlanje amaqanda aqhabele kuthaphe kudeni ngibevanga namaqanda bokwe. Well, I just said hello, and it is a great pleasure to be here today. It might sound like a lot of words, but in my Zulu, So yeah, really I'm honored today to be here. Thank you, Stu, man. Thank you very much. This man is one of my favorite bass players that I've known about him when I was still in South Africa, trying to work on my bone in the nose. So I followed Stu, but when I got this call to come here today, I was very pleased. The little bass is really, really important, because when I first met Rick, and Rick says, hey, try this instrument, then I look at it like, I got 2 daughters and they always break my instrument, so maybe this is a good idea. But then I played the instrument, I couldn't stop playing it. I think I played like 3 hours, just non-stop, and this instrument sounds so beautiful. So I said to Rick, really interested. But it's a really great instrument, and I would suggest every bass player should have it. It's a good instrument for discipline, because you cannot punish this instrument like the one with the big one. This one you play with care, but it gives you a lot of power and a lot of things. So depends also what you play. You play jazz, it's perfect. You play African, it's perfect. Anything. Amaqanda qabele kuthape kudeni namanqane bobo kwasebe xabene naboxamo sebe xabene ngengxoxo. Amaqanda qabele kuthape kudeni. Like where I grew up in Soweto, there's a lot of church, and then there's also a lot of a cappella singers like Ladysmith, Black Mambazo, and all just traditional music. And I didn't have a TV then. The radio was very small. Sometimes you couldn't hear the bass. So, but now I'll sit at home and just practice stuff. I don't know what I was playing, but every time the church people, they pass by and then I hear these voices, then I take those voices and then use them on my bass. Like, for an example, like so I will play that with the church, and then they go by, and then another group of different cultures comes in, like Sutu, like the boy in the bubble. So play with those people and just grab every bass line from their singing, and then I started to get a lot of sessions to play for different recordings and with those groups and play these bass lines that I hear. But at home there was no YouTube. I mean, when I started to play, no shortcut. You know, you had to really work hard for everything. I was working as a mechanic, trying to help my mother who was really sick, and then the boss, he says to me, "Your Paul Simon is in town, is looking for a musician, and they picked you." And I said, "Who is Paul Simon?" and then the guy sings the songs. He sings all the songs with the Simon and Garfunkel. And I said, "You know, I mean, I'm from the township. You know, we play the township music, so I had no idea." So he sings all the songs, you know, Sounds of Silence. I said, "No, that is not African music." And then the reggae song, and I said, "Oh yeah, I know the reggae song because I've heard on the radio." And then I said, "Yeah, that guy who plays that song, he's looking for you in the studio, so go and then come back when you finish." And I said, "Okay, great." And I took my bass, I had no case, and I was playing the fretless, and I said, "This is not good. My hands are greasy and everything." And I go to the studio. Paul looks at me like, "Hi, are you the bass player?" I said, "Yes." Actually, too, I had somebody to translate for me because I was really clicking like crazy. I mean, I used to say, "Good morning, how are you, thank you." So somebody tells Paul, "Yeah, he's a bass player," and then Paul says, "Okay, great, so let's groove." And then, you know, he played guitar and played some minor chords, and then when we hear the minor chords, like, oh, this is not African. You know, so, and then we worked with Paul, and then I played, and then he liked the fretless sound, and then also the engineer loved the sound of the fretless, and then Paul started to say, "This is great," and then we're gonna finish the tracks in the States, and I couldn't sleep. And then after that, I called my boss. I said, "Listen, I just got paid, and I got paid more money than you know, working for you all these years, you pay me low, but this time I played like, you know, 5 songs all day, and then I get good money. So I'm not coming back." And he says, "You need to come back." I said, no, that's it. That was the end. And I said, "Thank you for suggesting me." He was a great guy to tell me to do this and go to the studio because, you know, he helped me to get out of the mess. So that's how I met Paul, and I played on the Graceland, and now it's been, I think, 25th anniversary, and then there's a movie about the Graceland. Thank you. It's amazing as a bass player to be on the same job for many years, you know. But Paul is a great musician, and I mean, I learned a lot from him, and I met great people because of him. I met Mr. Laboriel, who's my hero as well. You know, just Paul saved me a lot, and I'm glad to share this stuff with you. This song, like for an example, the Boxer. But the Boxer, I use the acoustic one, and then when I play the reggae one, I use this one. And then some other songs like Crazy Love, like this. So I use this one, but it depends, you know. But when I rehearse with Paul, I don't play the big bass because he think I play loud, you know, because he's big. So when I play this one, he's like, "Did you turn up?" "No, it's the same." It's like, "No, that bass is loud. Take the little one." But I think this is more louder than the other ones, but it's just the size that, yeah, so, you know, I play this whenever I can.
Let's bring up Laboriel, one of our generation's truly most recorded and greatest bass players.
I was in the middle of a recording session, and I asked, you know, it's really important, as much as people say it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. I asked if it was okay to use this for one of my solos, and they said yes, and it's changed my life. This instrument records in a fantastic way. I cannot recommend it enough. It is true that my older son had this instrument in his studio, and I played it and I flipped. I completely flipped. And there's nothing in the world that sounds like this. Because of my heritage being from Mexico, you know. So I'm very, very, very grateful, and I cannot encourage you enough as bass players to fall in love with harmony, because this is going to be very pedantic, but I want you to say out loud the name of the chord.
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 The responsibility of all bass players is to play.
The name of the chord.
You see?
guessing Abe and Bikiti could kind of get a groove going on. What do you think? Should we Please say thank you again to Mr. Laboriel. Bakithi, Kumalo. Want to play a little bit?
Yes, Mr. Stuart Hamm is going to join us, and we're going to do a 3K bass extravaganza.